Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be reviewing the new champion coming to Legends of Runeterra in patch, what was it, 6.7, Mel Medarda, who was one of the major characters in the Arcane series. She's going to be the brand new champion, not only from to the Path of Champions, but a brand new character to Legends of Runeterra, just like how Fiddlesticks, Ambessa, and Warwick were last year. For this year, this is the only new champion that we're getting. Mel has been greatly anticipated, and she looks really, really good. So let's get started talking about her. So, first up, her Star 1 power is called Sacrifice for Progress. When you kill a unit with a spell, deal 1 damage to all enemies and to the enemy nexus. Okay, so she's a burn character. That's a little unexpected, but when we look at what happened with Lux and how when Lux got reworked, she got the spell bolt ability. It kind of looks like Riot has kind of accepted that every mage is going to have to do burn from now on, because there's just too much health for you to play like a control spell deck. I mean, Morgana does it okay, but every other mage besides Morgana, and Morgana still has like a little bit of burn with her 2-star. So, but everyone who's not Morgana basically it revolves around burn if they are a mage, and that includes Ahri. So Ahri's burn is just a little bit different. So yeah, I think that killing units with spells, burning the whole field is interesting. It feels a lot like Swain, which I'm not a fan of, because she gets it basically for free since it's her 1st and 2nd star, whereas Swain, you have to actually spend a 6-star on it, and she will compete directly with, well, no, I know. I think they said that she's going to be Piltover and Zon primary, so you won't have to spend a Noxian crystal on her, but still, I mean, that means that she's competing with Jinx, and Jinx also has a spell that deals 2 to all enemies in the enemy nexus, which is her rocket cannon. This feels like better than Jinx, which is a little bit frustrating because Jinx is just a good character. She's kind of like a good baseline. So for her to get overshadowed in her own region is a little bit weird. Regardless, let's take a look at this. So I think this is great. I mean, I think that as long as you can get good spells, you will be able to clear the board very frequently. You might think that this doesn't scale all that well for like the deadly enemies, but actually, if we take a look at her cards, you will find that this is actually very impressive for deadly. Next up, we have Strength and Strategy. +1 starting mana. When you play a damaging spell, increase the damage dealt by other copies of it everywhere by 1. This is very interesting. So essentially, anytime that you cast any spell that deals damage, for the rest of that game, whenever you play a spell that has the same name, it deals 1 extra point of damage, and that stacks with itself. So, for example, if you cast Solar Flare, and you deal 1 damage, then the next Solar Flare you play will deal 2 damage, and then the third Solar Flare that you play will deal 3 damage. It's an interesting idea. And it gives you weird synergies with a lot of really cool powers. For example, one of the common powers in the game is Blade's Edge, which gives you a 1-mana knife spell every round. Every turn you can spend 1 mana to deal 1 damage to any target. Well, now if you get this power, that 1 damage becomes 2 damage, which becomes 3 damage, which becomes 4 damage, which becomes 5 damage. Anytime you kill a unit, it clears the whole board, and the mana cost never goes up. It's 1 mana to deal like 12 damage, so this is going to be really interesting. Additionally, there have been some theory crafting about whether you could play a Dreadway Chase Gun with this, which is it's a relic. It's a rare relic that says when I'm summoned, creates 2 copies of Warning Shot in your hand. Warning Shot is a 0 mana spell that deals 1 to the enemy nexus. So if you put theoretically 3 of those on Mel, then when she's summoned, she creates 6 copies of Dreadway Warning Shot in hand. And then you play the first one, you deal 1 damage. Second one deals 2 damage. Third one deals 3 damage. Fourth one deals 4 damage. Fifth one deals 5 damage. Sixth one deals 6 damage. That is 21 damage for 0 mana, because all of them cost 0. You are then one step closer to leveling Mel up, and the next time that you play Mel, you will get 6 more copies of the Warning Shot, which will deal 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 damage. So the first set you deal 21 damage, and the second set it's like 7 plus 8 is 15, then 24, 34, 45, 57. So total of 78 damage over 2 copies of Mel, which is insane. Like, even for the highest level areas, 99 is like the cap for health. So you are going to kill people if you play that version. But the question is whether another version of her will be more efficient than just play Mel and then play Mel again. Sacrifice for Progress 2, of course, is when you kill a unit with a spell, deal 2 damage to all enemies in the enemy nexus. No limit on the number of times you can do this per turn. It's fantastic. I think that this is a very powerful ability, only because it also hits the enemy nexus. If it did not hit the enemy nexus, I would think it would be kind of weak, but because it burns the enemy nexus as well, and it's on her 3-star, that means that you don't really need to worry about getting like a win condition on her 6-star, which is rare, but I mean, that's what Swain has. Swain literally can win the game with just his 3-star, so his 4-star and his 5-star just make him aggressively more powerful, and that's why Swain is so ridiculous. So, same thing with Mel, I feel like. Surprisingly, Mel's... Well, maybe not surprisingly. Mel's 4-star is not Spellburn, like Victor and Lux was. Instead, it's Gem Crafting. When you play a spell, grants a random ally in hand +1/+1. I guess that they want to do something similar to what they did with Swain, where it was just like, let's have her burn buff things. But they realized that they overshot it with Swain, like, a lot. Swain buffing the top card of his deck every time that he dealt damage was insane, and you can regularly get, like, 18/18s with Swain. And that's a little bit much for a free power. So instead, capping it by the spell cast as opposed to the damage the spell deals seems a lot fairer, and I agree with this. So this is good enough for a free power. Mana Flow, of course, game start, get a Mana Gem. There's only one champion in the game whose 5th star is not Mana Flow, so we were expecting Mana Flow. Lastly, Soul's Reflection. When you play a spell, create a fleeting copy of it in hand once per spell each round. Which means that if you have the 6-star and you go with the Dreadway Chase build, then you actually have a 7th copy of Warning Shot, which deals 7 damage, which means that she does 28 damage to start with. That's really funny. Obviously, since it's once per spell each round, that means if you have like 3 different spells, you can play 6 cards if you have the mana for it. Really cool. Obviously, you still have to pay the mana cost for these, which means that it's really good with cheap cards. And we'll have to see if Mel can get enough cheap cards for that to be good. So those are her powers. I think they're all really strong. Let's take a look at her deck. So unlike Warwick and like Ambessa, Mel is getting a mixture of old cards and new cards. Here are her old cards. Howling Gale, 3 mana, deal 2 damage to a unit. Slow spell. Increase my damage by 1 for each other card you've played this round up to 3 times. So this can be a 3 mana, deal 5 damage if you played 3 cards. That fits with Mel's kit of wanting to play multiple spells in a single round. And it also fits with being able to deal a decent amount of damage to all enemies. Okay. It's weird that it's Janna's spell. I don't know why they gave her Janna's spell, except for the fact that it is Piltover and Zon, but I feel like there were probably better targets in this. Next up, we have Academy Prodigy. This is Ezreal's card, but, I mean, Ezreal's not in the game, so I guess that makes sense. 2 mana, 3/2 with Quick Attack. This is objectively worse than Jinx's card, which is a 2 mana 3/3 with Quick Attack, but it also gets... she has Dragon's Tooth on it, so it's got +1/+1 in Fury. So Jinx has a 2 mana 4/4 with Quick Attack and Fury, and Mel is getting a 2 mana 3/3 with 3/2 with Quick Attack. So we'll have to see what item card she gets. Next up, we have Ballistic Bot. Ballistic Bot is a 2 mana 1/3 with Augment. Round start, create an Ignition in hand. Ignition is a 1 mana spell that deals 1 damage to the enemy nexus. Obviously, that will ramp up every single time you play it, which is really good. And then Augment means that every time that you play the Ignition, Ballistic Bot will get +1 attack, and then if you have gem crafting, then every time you play the Ignition, that raises the attack points of the cards in your hand. And if you have the 6-star, then your Ballistic Bot, your Ignition will hit twice for 2 mana. You'll buff 2 cards in your hand by 1, and you will deal 1, then 3, then 1, then 3, then 6, then 10 damage over the course of 2 turns. That's a lot of damage you can potentially deal to the enemy nexus. Oh, of course, let's talk about Mel herself. I'm sorry. Mel is a 3-mana Noxian Piltover and Zaun card with a 3 attack and 3 health. Your spells that target enemies have Overwhelm. Okay, so currently there's only 1 spell in the game, or I think maybe 2. There's only 2 spells in the game that have Overwhelm. One of them is Final Spark. I can't remember what the other one is.
Caitlin's.
Ace in the Hole. Caitlin's Ace in the Hole. Thank you. But Mel just gives every spell Overwhelm, which makes sense. Like, spells having Overwhelm was really only necessary in Path of Champions, which is why it was never part of the PvP game, except for Lux, and to be honest, it probably shouldn't have been for Lux. So this is cool. So you don't have to feel bad about your Howling Gale having like 8 damage and killing a 2/2 with it, because then you just deal 2 damage to every enemy, to the enemy nexus, and then the 6 remaining damage will go face. So yes, that's really, really strong. When I'm summoned or when allies attack, create a Radiant Volley in hand. Radiant Volley is a 1-mana spell that deals 1 damage at burst speed to, I believe, to a unit, which is fine, because I mean, even if you target like a 1/1 with it, your spells have Overwhelm because you only get it when Mel is out, so that's fine. She levels up by playing 3 different spells twice. So you want your Ballistic Bot to get 2 copies of Ignition so that you can play 2 copies of Ignition, then you'll play 2 copies of Howling Gale and 2 copies of one of her other spells, and you'll level her up. So she has 2 other spells in the deck. One of them is called Solar Snare. Solar Snare is a 3-mana spell that deals 1 damage to 1 unit in the enemy nexus, then 1 damage to another unit in the enemy nexus, and then 1 damage to another unit or the enemy nexus. So you choose 3 different targets. So it is for 4 less mana. This is Ezreal's what is it called? What is Ezreal's ultimate called? Why do I not remember what Ezreal's ultimate is called? I played Ezreal so much. True Shot Barrage. Oh my god. For 4 less mana, which it's a 3-mana spell, Ezreal's True Shot Barrage is 7 mana. For 4 less mana, you have True Shot Barrage, but instead of 1, 2, and 3 damage, it's 1, 1, and 1 damage. That may sound fair in theory, but when you consider the fact that every time you play your card, you get extra damage on every iteration of it, then it becomes insane. You just need to play 2 copies of Solar Snare, and then the 3rd copy will be 3, 3, and 3, which is literally better than True Shot Barrage. Actually, the 2nd copy is as good as True Shot Barrage, because it's 2, 2, and 2, and 1, 2, and 3 is 6 damage, 2, 2, and 2 is also 6 damage. So by playing 1 copy of Solar Snare, the 2nd copy of Solar Snare is as good as True Shot Barrage for 4 less mana. It's insane. This is such a good card, specifically with Mel's 2-star ability. And you might say, well, she's only got 2 copies of the card in her deck. We'll get there. We'll get to that. Funsmith, all of your spells and skills deal 1 extra damage. 4 mana, 2/3, bad card. We will see how she buffs that. And then we have 2 new cards. Solar Snare was a new card, so we have technically 4 new cards on this slide. Elora, who is from Arcane. 3 mana, 3/1. Create an exact copy of a spell in hand. Interesting. Lest, 1 mana, 1/1. Last Breath, refill 2 spell mana. I believe Lest dies in the show, so that makes sense. And then 5 mana, Rebuttal. Fast spell, deal damage to an enemy equal to its power. Okay, so if you cast this on Darius is a 6/6. Darius will deal 6 damage. It will deal 6 damage to Darius, and then Darius will die. Pretty good. I don't know how Rebuttal will work with her 2-star. Because Rebuttal does deal damage, but that damage is based on a measurement. So I don't know if like if you play one rebuttal and then you play a second rebuttal on Darius, if it'll deal 7 damage instead of 6 damage. I'm genuinely not sure. When it's like an deal X damage, technically, whenever there's a spell that deals like X damage, it's kind of hard to see how it will interact with like a buff global ability, because sometimes X overwrites anything else. We'll have to see how Riot handles that, because they have been very independently minded. They don't really care about what other card games do with things. Okay, which is to their credit, I believe. Okay, so these are good cards. Then we have her Relic. Searing Brilliance. Power. Game start. Grant a random spell from your deck, an item, with -1 cost, and draw 1. Then create 4 copies of it in your deck. So, let's say that you have your Solar Snare. Your Solar Snare is now 2 mana instead of 3 mana. It draws you a card when you activate it, and instead of having 2 copies in your deck, you would now have 6 copies in your deck. Now, granted, this is a random spell in your deck, so it's not going to always hit Solar Snare, but that could happen. Now, it is important to note, this is actually good for not Mel. Like, other characters would really like this. Not Jace and not Lux. They would prefer to have their spells cost the same, as they always do. But Jinx would like this. Jinx would definitely like it if her Pow Pows all cost 0 and drew you a card. That would actually be insane. Because once you summon Jinx and you like dump her whole hand and you get a bunch of Pow Pows, you could literally play them all for 0 mana, draw 10 cards, and then keep going, and you just keep using her 3-star. This actually would be insane on Jinx, now that I'm thinking about it. Victor would probably like this, because no matter what spell you hit with Victor, it's going to be a created card, so you'll play it twice, which is great. Aurelian Soul would like this. Aurelian Soul's spells cost too much anyway. And so Aurelian Souls being created means that they'll get an item card, first of all, which would be really, really good for them. And secondly, they will reduce the cost of your champions by 2, which makes them much less annoying to actually play. Like, for example, the 5-mana spell that heals you for 5, that card isn't really, really annoying to play. So if it was 4 mana, and it reduced the cost of the cards in your hand by 2 without you needing to play the card that it generated, that would be a lot better. I'm not saying that Aurelian Soul needs any help. I'm just pointing it out. Swain, of course, would love this. Getting extra spells is fantastic for Swain, because he doesn't want to draw anything but spells. So it doesn't matter what spell you hit. It literally does not matter in the slightest. All you want is as many spells as possible, just like with Mel. Same thing with Samira. Samira would love having cards that cost less and draw cards, because she needs to play 6 cards at once. So yeah, no, I mean, there's tons of characters that this would be really, really good on. Nami is another one. Master Yi, Lee Sin. I could go on. There are so many champions that care about Janna. Janna loves playing cards that cost less and drawing cards. Like there are so many champions that care about playing multiple spells, and this relic is good on all of them. So this is probably one of the better relics that Riot has released recently. I'm trying to think. This may be the best relic they've released since the Perfect Hex Score. The Perfect Hex Score is like 10 times better than this. I'm not saying that the Perfect Hex Score is in the same league as this, but this is way better than like Twin Drakehounds or the Kale relic. This is something that you would actually want to pay for. All right. We also know one of Mel's stars, which is her Star of Discovery, is spells that you draft in adventures that cost at least 2 have Mana Potion, Tear of the Goddess, or Chalice of Harmony based on their cost. Now, we've never seen something like that before. We have seen, like, champions have Studded Leather or Phage or Titan's Axe based on their cost, and the tiers there are 0 to 3 is +1/+1, 4 to 6 is +2/+2, and 7 and higher is +3/+3. So if we think of it that way, then most likely a 2 to 3 cost card will cost 1 less. A 4 to 6 cost card will cost 2 less, and a 7 or higher cost card will cost 3 less. Is that good? That's insane. That's fantastic. What you want there is you want as many 4 cost spells as possible, because then you get like good cards that do a lot, and you just only pay you pay half as much mana for them, and then you could potentially hit one of them with your Searing Brilliance, and it would cost 1 less. So it would cost 1 and draw you a card. So yes, Mel will be very, very good. Okay, now something I do every time that there is a new champion is I like to guess what the item cards will be on their kit deck. I think the last time that I did this, I got 1 right, and that was it. So let's see what we do this time. All right, first up we have Howling Gale. 3 mana, deal 2, increase my damage by 1 for each other card that you've played this round up to 3 times. 3 mana, deal 2 is pretty low, to be honest. Even though it is going to go up to 5, that's still not great. So wait, hold on. Is every card in her deck Piltover's on? It is. Why is every card in her deck Piltover's on? Every card in Mordekaiser's deck isn't Shadow Isles. He's got some Noxus cards in there. Remember how your dual class works, Riot. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Howling Gale. Let me think. Howling Gale will probably be I think this is going to be the summon beacon. Summon a unit that costs the same as me. They like to put that on 3 cost cards for some reason. So yeah, I think 3 mana, dealing like 6 damage, and then you summon a 3-drop is pretty fair for a slow speed spell. So yeah, I imagine that's probably going to be what it is. Academy Prodigy. This card is not amazing. It has quick attack and it has 3 attack. I feel like it would be correct to give this card like Phage, but I don't think that they're going to do that. I think they're going to lean into the fact that it has quick attack, and they're going to give this Pickaxe. I'm calling it now. Academy Prodigy Pickaxe. 2 mana, 5/2 quick attack. Ballistic Bots. Ballistic Bots, I think in Victor's deck it has Chain Vest. I don't imagine they're going to lean too hard into this card. It's not super interesting. It does have a lot of synergy with their kit, but that's why it's like you care more about the actual spell. So I feel like they'll probably just give it like Studded Leather. It'll probably just be a 2/3. Sorry, a 2/4 to start with, because then you play the spell once and it's a 3/4, 2 mana 3/4 that you spent 1 mana to buff afterwards. Seems fair. Yeah, I feel like this will just be a 2/4. Oops. Next up, Funsmith. Funsmith, there's no way this card's going to cost 4. That's card's terrible. So the question is if it's going to cost 2 or 3. You might think, why would they put Nomad's Medallion on a 4 mana 2/3? That seems insane. But they did do that already, actually. That is on the Poro King. The Poro King has Professor Von Yip, which is a 4 mana 2/3 that buffs every 1-drop you play. And it's got Nomad's Medallion, so it only costs 2. And the same way, Funsmith is a 4 mana 2/3 that just gives you a passive buff while it's out. So I feel like there's precedent. I'm going to call it. I think that they're going to put Nomad's Medallion on Funsmith, and Funsmith is going to be a 2 mana 2/3 that buffs all your damage by 1. And that will actually be really good, which is cool. Alright, Solar Snare. Solar Snare is very clearly the best card in the deck. So this is definitely one of the cards that's going to get 2 items. The first item I am almost certain is going to be Grifter's deck, which is when you play this card, shuffle 2 copies of it into your deck that cost 1 each. I feel like that's guaranteed. Like, the whole point of getting excited about this card is that you can use it with the 2-cost ability, and I understand that there will be a chance for you to get 4 copies if you get the paid relic. But what if you don't have the paid relic, right? Like, you'll still want to play this card a ton. So I'm sure they're going to put Grifter's deck on it. The other one is a little bit harder to guess. I really don't think they're going to put extra damage on it, because it's already really powerful, and the only thing that it needs is that it has to ramp up. I feel like if they put like +2 damage on it, so it was 3 damage to start with, that would line it up with like Misfortune's Make It Rain in terms of well, Misfortune's Make It Rain is 2 mana, but it's 2 mana deal 3 to 3 targets. You might think that's insane, but it is already in someone else's kit. But Solar Snare has just too much synergy, and also Solar Snare lets you... I didn't even see this card was fast. Whoa! I thought this was slow, like True Shot Barrage. This is literally better than True Shot Barrage. Why is it fast? Jeez. There's no weaknesses to this card. God, I can't picture them having this deal bonus damage. So what would its other card be? It's not going to be Elixir of Sorcery. That would be insane. There might, if they really want to push Mel, then one of her constellations, like behind her 6-star, will be Solar Snare has Elixir of Sorcery, and that will be legitimately, she will be unstoppable if that was the case. I guess it's got to be Poro Snacks, right? Like just summon a 1-cost Poro. As boring as that is, like, I can't imagine them doing anything else with it. So, yeah, Grifter's deck and Poro Snacks. Illura is a 3-mana 3/1, which is very stupid stats. So I assume that they're doing this specifically. They did this with Fiddlesticks as well. They printed him a 4-mana 5/3 that looks terrible, and then they gave it Giant Spell so that it would be even stats. I think this is the same thing. They're going to make Illura get Giant Spell, so she'll be a 3-mana 3/3 just for mill. Lest. Last Breath refill 2 spell mana. I don't think Rebuttal is going to get 2 items, so I have to assume that Lest is the other card that will get 2 items. And probably... You want her to die, but a 1-mana 1/1 is really, really weak. Like, the reason why you have 1-drops in Path of Champions is so that you can actually play the game when you don't have any star powers. And a 1-mana 1/1 seems like really, really weak. So we haven't gotten Skirmisher Saber yet. I assume she'll probably get Skirmisher Saber, and the other one maybe Phage? That would be really broken. But I mean, that's probably... I'm going to say that's probably it. She's probably going to be like a 1-mana 3/3 with Challenger, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because her Last Breath has to be... Her Last Breath giving you 2 spell mana is decent, but she has to actually have impact on the board for that to be valuable to you. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Phage and Skirmisher Saber. Alright, and then lastly we have Rebuttal. There is no way that you're going to spend 5 mana on a spell in 2025. This is getting Tear of the Goddess. It will be a 3-mana card. And it will be good when it is 3 mana. It will be terrible when it's 5 mana. So get Mel to level 30 as fast as possible. Alright, those are my thoughts. My name is Rafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.